Good morning. Please be seated. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the Foothill De Anza Community College District, Foothill De Anza Chancellor Linda Thor, and De Anza College's faculty and staff, it is my great pleasure to welcome you, the class of 2013, your families and your friends to this year's graduation. Today marks De Anza's 46th annual commencement ceremony. We are here to celebrate you, our graduates, and your accomplishments. You are here today because you chose and remained on a path that required hard work, persistence, confidence, and focus. This year, more than 1,900 students will graduate from De Anza College with degrees and certificates. If all 1,900 showed up this morning, we would be here until 4 this afternoon. Graduates, we are proud of you. We are honored that you chose to come to De Anza, and you will always be part of the De Anza family. An event of the magnitude of this ceremony is the result of hard work, plain and simple, that of you, the graduates, most of all, but also of the many staff and faculty who labored to make this event one you will remember for a lifetime. This means the overall coordination and physical setup of this site, the sign language interpretation and captioning, the music, the videography, the design and printing of the program, the attention to every last detail to honor you, our graduates. Please refer to the program for a list of those who made the commencement possible, and please join me in thanking them. For those of you who have dedicated your lives to teaching and to public service, no day of the year is as meaningful as today. Commencement. Whether you students plan to transfer to a four-year college or university, or enter or re-enter the workforce following today, we know you will continue your education throughout your lives. You are among those who will lead your community, our region, our state, and our country with vision and passion and with compassion for one another. Looking at you, we are optimistic about our future. We at De Anza College will always, always remember you and your contributions to our community. As you take the next step forward, I ask you to remember what you've received from the college, what this community gave you, and to continue to take responsibility for becoming active, engaged participants in your community. It's not just a question of not forgetting us, it's a question of continuing to defend us. And now, a special note of gratitude to your families, to the mothers and fathers and guardians, husbands and wives and partners, sisters and brothers, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and many, many children, whose deep commitment and support made all the difference. We know that many of you sitting here made great sacrifices so that members of your families could be sitting here with us. And today we honor you together with our graduates. Graduates, would you please rise and applaud your family and friends? At De Anza, we modestly say that our students and graduates are simply the best. You see it on the various banners around. Well, the awards, the scholarships, the accolades our students received this year are far too many to enumerate today. Hundreds of our graduates have received scholarships, commendations, acclamation. Students from athletics to creative arts, journalism to liberal arts, mathematics, nursing, and beyond. We applaud their success because they indicate the kind of extraordinary talent we have here at De Anza. Hundreds of thousands of dollars has gone to financial aid for our students, scholarships they will take with them as they move on. Yet other talents that each and every one of the graduates have are not typically recognized through awards. These are the talents of perseverance and will and intelligence that every one of our graduates demonstrated through their daily work, through the countless hours of homework, reading, research, sandwiched in among equally countless hours of employment, raising families, juggling extended families and rent payments, and even a social life. What's more, each of you who are graduating from De Anza have worked collaboratively at this college with men and women different from yourselves, from different countries and cultures and languages, and you have crafted a common ability to celebrate each other and our common humanity. When we use the metaphor of familia at De Anza, what we are speaking about is the capacity of students to commit themselves to one another, whatever their backgrounds or origins or histories, to bring love into this community. We are deeply in your debt, graduates, for you have shown us that a community of beloved respect can in fact live in this place. Thank you. It is a special honor now to welcome our commencement speaker. De Anza College is pleased to welcome Jose Antonio Vargas, who is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and the founder of Define America, a campaign to elevate the national conversation surrounding immigration. In June 2011, he publicly announced his own status as an undocumented immigrant in the New York Times. Since then, he has been actively involved in immigration reform, including this past February, delivering uniquely riveting testimony before the United States Senate Judiciary Committee. Jose is also a filmmaker. He debuted as a director last week when the film Documented, which he also wrote, premiered in Washington, D.C. as part of the American Film Institute's Documentary Festival. He's a former reporter for the Washington Post, where he is part of the team that won the Pulitzer Prize in 2008 for its coverage of the Virginia Tech tragedy. He has written for numerous other major publications, including The New Yorker. Jose graduated from Mountain View High School, right down the road, a mere 13 years ago. And in 2004, he was a proud graduate of San Francisco State University, the destination of many of our graduating students. Please join me in welcoming Jose Antonio Vargas.
Thank you, President Murphy, and to the trustees and the faculty, to all the parents and all the grandparents and relatives and friends, and specifically to the graduates. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Asusi en Tagalog, maraming salamat. That's my native language. For the honor of letting me share this amazing day with you. Before I continue, I want to be upfront about who I am and who I am not. I am not a leader. I am not an organizer. What I am is a writer and a filmmaker who spent more than a decade working as a journalist. I ask questions, I seek answers, I connect the dots, and I tell stories. I am also one of the estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants in our country. Many of us Americans in all but papers. And I am, let's keep it real, the most privileged undocumented immigrant in America. While people are getting deported every day, while students and workers fear for their lives, I fly across the country like a walking uncomfortable conversation, reminding people that I am not the illegal in their minds, that immigration is way more complicated than the US-Mexico border. It's not every day that an undocumented immigrant is asked to give a commencement address. So I thank you for that. And yet here I am speaking at the 46th annual commencement ceremony of De Anza College. This is all the more special given that community colleges here in the Bay Area and across the country are often the underappreciated backbone of our country's higher education system. And to me, this is all the more special because this is a homecoming of sorts. As President Murphy mentioned, I grew up not too far from here, specifically 8.5 miles no more than a 15-minute drive off Highway 85. I am in America because of the sacrifices of my family. I was born in the Philippines, and my mother decided to send me to America, to her parents, to give me a better life. I arrived in Mountain View, California on August 3rd, 1993, and my introduction to American culture was Nancy Kerrigan's knee getting whacked, the O.J. Simpson trial, and Seinfeld. I thought everybody was Jewish. I had a really, really thick Filipino accent, and when my 6th grade classmate asked me, "What's up?" I said, "The sky." I didn't really know where an Asian-looking kid with a Latino name fit in a black or white America. My best memory in middle school was actually in the 6th grade when we sang the national anthem for the first time. I thought it said, "Oh, Jose, can you see?" It took me a while to realize that that was the wrong lyrics. A year later, actually, a few years later, at the age of 16 years old, I went to the DMV to apply for a driver's permit on El Camino Real in Mountain View. And that's when I discovered that the green card that my grandfather had given me was actually fake. That's when I realized that this flag that I've been pledging allegiance to didn't actually belong to me. So I had to learn to fight for it. I had to learn to fight for this flag. I had to realize that being American was not something I could just be born into. That being American was something you fight for. That being American was something you earn. And after 14 years of, I thought, earning being American, at the height of my professional career, I decided to take the biggest risks of my personal life. I was done hiding and done being scared, and publicly told the world that I am an undocumented immigrant. But what's interesting to me is, out of that most vulnerable moment of my life, also became the most powerful moment in this very personal and public journey. I have traveled this great country the past 2 years. I've done about 130 events in 30 states, Alabama, Wisconsin, Ohio, talking to people about illegal immigration and talking to people about the fact that there's more to immigration than the US-Mexico border. And as I travel our country, the questions I get asked is, "So what do you mean you're not Mexican?" Though roughly 60% of the estimated 11 or 12 million undocumented population is from Mexico, the rest are not. A full 1.2 million undocumented people are actually from Asia. Undocumented Filipinos, undocumented Koreans, undocumented Chinese. I belong in what's called a mixed status family. There are 17 million households in America in which one person in the household is undocumented, and I'm in one of those households. I get asked questions like, "Why did you come out? Why are you telling us this?" And I'm really especially honored to be speaking at this college, given that you have a club called the Integral Movement for AB 540 Students Club, which supports undocumented students. And actually behind me today are 2 recipients of the President's Award, Angelica Esquivel and Shaila Ramos. And Angelica, Shaila, and I are part of this movement, this growing movement of Americans coming out as undocumented. But we're not really coming out. We are just letting you in. We are coming out to tell our fellow Americans that citizenship is more than a piece of paper. That we do not need the right green card, the right passport, or the right social security card to be treated as human beings. That citizenship is also about character, about the American character. And probably the question that I like being asked the most as I travel around the country is, how did you make it? And I actually think this is particularly relevant to all the graduates here today. I made it because of countless mentors. Mentors from my high school, Mountain View High School. One of my mentors is actually a dean of students at Foothill College, Pat Hyland, who was my principal at Mountain View High School. People like Pat Hyland help undocumented people like me every day, may it be in counseling us, trying to find scholarships for us. And I want to really take this moment for all of the students graduating, to take this moment to take all the mentors in their lives who helped get them to where they are today. We owe these mentors a great deal of gratitude. The three messages that I really wanted to leave across is, I don't know if you know this, if you can feel it. We are living in this great age of intersectionality, this era of empathy, the fact that my equality is tied to your equality, that you don't have to be gay to fight for LGBT rights, you don't have to be a woman to be a feminist, you don't have to be Latino or Black to care about Latino issues or Black issues, you don't have to be undocumented to care about immigrant rights. We are also living in this great age of disruption. And I mean disruption in the most positive, most encouraging, most empowering way. So my final message is, don't get too comfortable. Don't settle. Don't be satisfied working for an institution. Be your own institution. Your commencement here this morning has little to do with a diploma, with this piece of paper you're about to get. Your commencement is in many ways only the beginning of something. Make it count. Take big risks. And please, I beg of you, do not take your citizenship for granted. Congratulations to the Anza College class of 2013.
It is an enormous pleasure to award Jose Antonio Vargas an honorary degree of Associate of Arts from De Anza College. Thank you, Jose. I would like now to recognize three individuals who will be presented honorary medallions for their contributions to De Anza College this year. And in recognizing the three of them, I want to draw a direct connection between Jose's remarks and this college. This college survives and thrives and grows because of the commitments every day of men and women who do not hide their many talents, but who step forward to mentor, to serve, to help. When Jose talks about stepping up and stepping out, graduates, you have heard and seen many examples. And the three I mention now are only three of the many examples of the mentors and leaders from whose work you have benefited. First, Dr. Karen Chow, President of the Academic Senate of De Anza College. Karen was the elected leader of the Academic Senate representing the faculty of De Anza College. Second, I'm going to present to Margaret Badzil, on behalf of the college, the medallion for the president of the Classified Senate, Mr. Reza Kazampur, who could not himself be here, but Margaret is here on his behalf. The Classified Senate is the elected representatives of the classified staff of De Anza College. And finally, the immediate past president of the De Anza Associated Student Body, DASB, is the elected representatives of our students. I'd like to personally thank his work during this year, Mr. Pablo Zamorano. Each of them has given hundreds of hours of service to the college throughout the year. Thank you to each of them. Next, I want to make some special awards. Before then, we move on to the awards that you are all patiently waiting for in the sun. This will be the last year that we have commencement out here where I haven't asked the San Francisco 49ers for those spray machines that they have on the sidelines. We'll put them right in front of each of you and some up there, and we'll be in the shade created by mist next year. Now I've said it publicly, I have to do it. De Anza College students receive millions of dollars each year in loans, grants, awards, and scholarships. We're going to be presenting two very special student awards here today. First, I am pleased to announce two recipients of the President's Award given to two students who have overcome great adversity in achieving their degrees. It is with tremendous pleasure that I present the 2013 President's Award for Distinguished Achievement to Angelica Esquivel and Shyla Ramos. Angelica, known as Angie, graduates with an AA degree in liberal arts with an emphasis on math, science, and engineering. She will attend UCLA in the fall, where she will major in sociology and minor in public health. Angie was inspired to pursue a career in the health field, in part because her father dreamed of her becoming a doctor and helping the less fortunate, and because she has witnessed firsthand the healthcare challenges experienced in the undocumented community. Angie's initial goal was to be a nurse, but then discovered she'd be ineligible because of her immigration status. When she learned from her counselor at De Anza about opportunities in public health, she realized the field was an ideal intersection of her interest in health, politics, community involvement, and social change. She wants to be an educator and advocate for the resources all people need in order to live a just and healthy life. She was an active member of the Integral Movement for AB 540 students, IMAS, and served as legislative chair for the Higher Education for AB 540 student program, HEFAS. Congratulations, Angelica. Picture. Shyla Ramos, graduating with an AA degree in liberal arts with a focus on leadership and social justice, is transferring in the fall to the University of California, Santa Cruz, where she will major in peace and conflict studies. A student organizer in 2010 who took leadership in support of the California DREAM Act, her goal is to become a lawyer and establish a nonprofit to advocate for immigrant rights. Shyla served as a leader in leadership roles for both IMAS and HEFAS and was elected executive vice president of the De Anza Associated Student Body in 2011 to 12. She was also an intern for the college's Office of Equity, Social Justice, and Multicultural Education, in the Institute of Community and Civic Engagement, and in the Intercultural International Studies Division. The initial group in which Shyla participated at De Anza was the first-year experience learning community. She says she's been an advocate for higher education ever since she realized that her voice has power, and that as an undocumented student, she found her voice through being an activist and a community organizer. Shyla, you do us proud. Thank you. Clearly, these two women, deeply engaged in our De Anza community, provided extensive service to their fellow students and to the campus. I am pleased to say that community service is also the criteria for awards given out this year by the De Anza Associated Student Body in association with the De Anza Institute for Community and Civic Engagement. There are 16 Student Leadership Award winners. They are listed in your program, and we wish to thank and honor all of them. Finally, to present the A. Robert DeHart Scholarship, De Anza College's Vice President for Student Services, Dr. Stacy Cook.
Good morning. This annual scholarship is presented in memory of A. Robert DeHart, founding president of De Anza College, who served in that role for 25 years. This year's award winner is Charlotte DeLachey. Char will attend San Jose State University in the fall, majoring in business administration management. She graduates from De Anza with a degree in liberal arts with an emphasis in business and computer information systems. A reentry student, Char was laid off in 2008 after more than 2 decades of work in the semiconductor industry. She focused on obtaining a business degree in order to return to the high-tech workforce. She also served in 2010 as pro bono publicity chair for the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. She says that her passion is working at a one-on-one level with homeless members of the community. She also has been a volunteer for Special Olympics. While at De Anza College, Char volunteered for presidential election campaign phone banks and served as a student member of scholarship application review teams. She is the first in her family to attend and graduate from college. Because of Char's influence, Char's 53-year-old sister is now a college student. Congratulations, Char. Congratulations.
Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Karen Chow, President of the Academic Senate, who will deliver the faculty charge. That's what we call it, the faculty charge to the students. And then we will move to the moment you've all been waiting for.
Good afternoon. The faculty of De Anza College recognize and commend you, all of our graduates, on your hard work and sacrifices that have brought you and your loved ones here to celebrate your accomplishments today. As you go forward to pursue the further realization of your ambitions and goals, don't forget the power of a compelling narrative, most particularly your own. We saw copious evidence of that compelling narrative today in our guest speaker's story, Jose Antonio Vargas, and in the stories of our student awardees. From time to time, check in with yourself and write out the story of your life. And think about who and what are your most important inspirations and drivers. And if at any point you don't feel good about the story that is unfolding, then rewrite the direction or the focus and use that as your compass to continue. One of my mentors, Professor Albus Dumbledore from the Hogwarts School of Wizardry and Witchcraft, once said, "Words are, in my not so humble opinion, one of the most inexhaustible sources of magic, capable of both inflicting injury and remedying it. Realize the power of words, especially your own, and use them to keep the good magic alive and to fight off the Voldemorts you'll encounter." Congratulations.
We're almost there. Cristina Espinosa Pib, Vice President of Instruction, will now introduce the divisions and their deans. Dr. Gregory Anderson, the Dean of Learning Resources, will then introduce you individually, our graduates. I would like to ask of the audience two angles of vision, two ways of seeing what will now happen. Each person is celebrated. Each person receives the degree. Each person gets the photograph and a handshake. But you got to step back and see the community that is here and is here, because they have together and with each other built the entire community that makes it possible for each individual to get the handshake, the diploma, and the photograph. So in celebrating and applauding each individual, your family member, you celebrate as well a community that has grown and prospered because of his or her contribution and will live next year because of the contributions of the next generation of those who next year will be here where you are. So bear up under the heat. It's worth it for one more hour as we celebrate you both individually and together.
For the School of Liberal Arts, Dean Ángela Caballero de Cordero.
Ruben Sanchez. Grisel Stephanie Lara. Jesus Ángel Ruelas. Alejandro Hernández. Nui Garcia. Exar Del Real. Orale Era Sánchez. Andrea Cristel Ceballos Alvarez. José Flores. Aldo Armando Campos Díaz. Marco Macotela. Felicite Nadine Tianchu. Luis González. Javier Mendoza. Melinda Isabel Barajas Rico. Genevieve Alvarez. Gabriela Fuentes. Lisa W. Home. Lucero Cesena. Kendra Angelina Armenta Valdez. Wilton Manuel Marin Cruz. Norlisa Hipolito. Venus Apigo. Bethlehem Wonji. Isabel Alejandra Lopez. Janet Quintero Peña. Valeria Briceño. Donald Hout. Madeline Ocampo Manuel. Eric Bayerga. Manuel Lopez Solorzano. Leslie Escamilla Luna. Alfredo Dueñas. George Duque. Tuan Quang Dam. Rochelle Donato. Sandra Guerrero. Vivian Doe. Tao V. Nguyen. Nguyen Robson. Maggie Lee. Oops. Vindi Tanjaya. Dave Anson Ruslam. Eileena Andy. Hamid. Christelle Hamid. Mega Artati Surya Putra. Tanu Nuraga. Cynthia Casillas Martinez. Hu Duan Lu. Ni Fan. Kristen Matson. Claudia Barajas. Tamsin Kelly. Catherine Farrick. Marlene Garcia. Christina Dennis. Sarah Jane Carter. Karandeep Kaur. Jessica Danielle Norris. Nico Joshua De Fiesta Julian. Mariko Ariane Vecta Sampaga. Lang Nguyen. T. Van. Yeah. Just Daniel? Okay. Daniel Lee. Mi Din. Ricardo Espinosa. Kayla Christine Nicole Fisher. Jane Kang. Heidi Kang. Tao Nguyen. Natalia Chernech. Brandon Joseph Perez. Amanda Sue Furman. Ricardo Enrique Alcaraz. Isabela Hernandez Corral. Valerie Lamb. Nico James Evaristo. Joshua Christopher McCain. Royale. Hannah Royals. Okay. Dominique Joy Lewis. Jarrett Michael Speiler. Saori Yoko. Quang Wu Nam. Shemsa Shelimovic. Adela Shelimovic. Sandina Selimovic. Alfredo Garcia. Andrew Smith. Xuan Tran. Quang Lu. Tao Nguyen. Ryan Elliott Tyree. Arina Isadi. Mary Kay de Guzman. Tamara Horita. Ana Romero Rodriguez. Amaya. Oh, you want the whole thing? Suli Caroline Amaya Quintana. Suli Caroline Amaya Quintana. Sonia Barragan Navarro. Jenna Collins. Priscilla Tang. Chachi Su. Katrina Pei Benito. Andrea González Tobar. Grecia Vanessa Barragan. Elisha Nelson Tice. Vincent Mendoza. Shani Haven. Alisa Aguilar. Casey Sainz. Jess Bryant Hutchins II. Matthew Ma Tiu. Meli Lan Saito. Melia. Melia Lan Saito. Angelica Yareli Esquivel Moreno. Shaila Cristina Ramos. Charlotte Deloche. Charlene Gage. Bianca Johnson. Hilda Gabriela Ruiz. Paulina Marie Gada. Anne-Marie Gallegos. Shelley Alicia Terrell. Courtney Danielle Kreitner. Myra Tobias. Elizabeth Landeros. Brenda Bonilla. Danielle Anderson. Carmela Bearchild. Sylvia Stefanova Angelova. Justin Patrick Adkins. Adrian Akias. Samuel Amador. Nina Bui. Stephanie Ho. Yolanda Torres. Donald Lee. Aliyah Marlene Howard. Ivy Kristen Selva. Jasmine Rios Solis. Adorina Betsumaya. Christina Bedoya Reyes. Tiana Trevathan. Sam Said. Daniel Ramirez. Javier Nanes. Amanda Len. Sophie Len. Serenia Huerta. Anna Moran. Jessica Betancourt. Tao Nguyen. Roberto Castillo. Alejandro Adame. Alicia Lopez. Lourdes Martinez. Edgar. Edgar Rodriguez. Jelvi Ivan Marakin. Selena Shante Reyes. Ortiz. Mary Eileen Ortiz. John Reyes. Patrick Anthony Aguayo. David Feldstein. Karina Sanchez. Ramona Samaniago. Hey. Anelia Macabugo. Anelia Macabugao Rabanal. Dulce Maria Morales. Rigoberto Fabian Valencia. Joanne Leonor McKenna. Faith Caspellin. Gurjit Kaur. Krista Celeste Masakel. Alyssa Tuamo Tarrant. Callie Blackman Newton. Shanice Brianna Johnson. Ryan Alexander Ortiz. Andrea Malene Vasquez. Vanessa R. Valdez. Isabel Cristina Perez. Valeria Patricia Cepeda. Adriana Gonzalez. John Paul Cortez. Lanea Reynolds. Mario Lira. Adolfo Parga. Leslie Lisette Guereca. Andrew Chavez Perez. Yesenia Maldonado. Joshua Lawrence Gurude. Grant Kuramian. Chen Zhang. Jennifer Yip. Gabriel Cardoza. Young Lam. Silvana B. Cespedas. Jaime Eustaquio. Bobby Batinich. Kevin Harlan. Arcus Waichi Young. Kena Kano. On Nguyen. Thomas Clark. Stephanie Lopez Contreras.
Hello. I was told to bundle those up.
Yes.
I see you got it. Terrific. I'll give you your watch.
Thanks.
Christina, you're up.
And now for language arts, Dean Thomas Ray.
Sean Thomas Schuler. I need your card. I need your card. Nathaniel Turner. Adriana Barragan. Tina Lee Mooney. Julia Rose Medal. Vicky Hun. Just, you don't want this one, just hold it. Okay. Fong Do. Christina Nguyen. Kelly Aaron Gomez. Negra Serdarovich. Deanne Dominique Luna. Shayan Bagheri. Stacy Lynn Bignardi. Shauna Corasani. Rachel Koala. Bruce. Amy Bruce. Taylor Dawn Angelina Francis. Caitlin Elaine Small. Catherine Gaming Jaw. Andrew Tyler Perez. Jean Swafford. Jason Allen McClure. All right. Anthony J. Martinez. E. Cow.
And now for Applied Technologies, Dean Anita Kandula.
Javier Fernando Silva. Hi. You don't want David? Which one? Jonathan David McLeod. Charles Anthony Seeger. Luis Alberto Gutierrez. James Meidinger. Joseph Jennings Ovalman.
Biological and Health Sciences.
Doing my best. Jerry Peter Kimienti. Tatiana Maral Silva. Melody Kyo. Melody Quo. Nguyen. Kamha Ngak Nguyen. Vang Nguyen. Dan Tan Shi. Dan Tan Chui. Tin Dang. Long Trin. Silvina Alejandra Llorens. Chapman Stewart Thompson. Christopher David Pawarski. Miguel J. Hernandez. Rana Maloney. Marcela Seifer. Justin Wee Finular. Hee-jong Kim. Yin-Shin Wang. Man-Hung Nguyen. Salem Esquias Gabriel Hannes. Los Baron. Laura Elizabeth Courtney. Jason Cantaro Eno. Mandana Mostofi. Crystal Espina Kaidoy. Fong Wing. Elaine Marie Lau. Janet Carden. To Chow. Tanya Tariq. Simatu. Janice Yao Simatu. Almaz Teshegar Altane. Sierra Ann Jansen. Deborah A. Covey. Kayla Renee Kimlinger. Daniel Alba. Stephen Jacob Hirsch. Patrick Francis Sullivan. Ural G. Green.
Great, thank you.
School of Social Sciences and Humanities, Dean Carolyn Wilkins Green.
Sungmi Lee. Sweeney Ulia Yukana. Kevin R. Fish. Jamie Lee Swanson. Lanisha Sharia Alexander. Paulina Garcia. Tommy Tarawali. Florence Lanzana. Alejandra Aguilar. Lachey Allman. Avido Senes. Myrna Gust. Christina Sabathia. Melissa Garnica. Bye, Melissa. Heather Chucky Gunther. Jason Huff Cooper. Cesar David Escobar. Michael Hilgen. Hogan. Michael Hogan. Nadia Webster. Edward Carboni. Peter Bosk. Kirstel Casas. Evelyn Ruiz Gutierrez. Malika Bridges. Danny Horning II. Daniel James Clarkson. Christopher Brian Dorr. Tay Gregory Marshall. Okay. Carlos Cabrera. Janiqua Tinney. Lakeisha Alexander. Stephanie Munoz. Jacqueline Ruiz Munoz. Tracy Rodriguez Neris. Jayshri Santos. Leslie Ibana. Tiffany Doe. Sarah Marie Webb. Fariba Hidari. Queen Tiu. Nalani Raymond Punise. Sarah Marie Mendelson. Vicky Tran. Paula A. Alcantar. Nam Hui Vu. Loribeth Pascual. Andrea Lafebre. Christina Good. T. Nguyen. Felicia Nichols. Sylvia Bertolet Hurtado. Carla America Vallejo. Nicole Martinez. Melanie Sardaryani. Nicole Conroy. Eloisa Fernandez. Lisa Michelle Walker Silva. Virginia Jimenez. Johnny Aguilar Lira Jr. Alicia Ann Alvarenga. Jocelyn Alejandra Herrera. Katia Valeria Lopez. Nadine Talat. Sherman Fu. Brian Barbaro. Jonathan Sanchez Aquino. Claudia Rosales. Marcus Aaron Page. Shobna Chowdhury. Elizabeth Gonzalez. Vanessa Diaz.
Now for the School of Business and Computer Information Systems, Modi Faik.
I'm good, thanks. Farnas Abrishani. Monique Brissett. Joan S. Pickin. Cynthia Gonzalez. Emmy Pacheco. Adriana Pacheco. Christine Pasco. Christina Radovich. Mei-Ching Wan. Ricardo Daniel Tiscarino. Jeff Oberly. Miriam Janet Orozco. Jenny Eunice Eduarte. Marine Mansour. Michelle Dominguez. Rania Amikaya. An Han Ha. Tao Lee. V Mai Nguyen. Quong Min Pham. V Tren. Yen V Bui. Qin Huang. Queen Huang. Queen Huang. Tuan Nguyen. Viet Huang. Shinichi Inoue. Diana Recalde. Gevork Torosian. You don't want the middle? Darius Delroy Dyer. You want me to say that? Emmanuel Chavoya. Carlos Luis Sivira. Benjamin Eugene Smith. Sheridan Ann Graham. Amisha Shet. Charles Lee Leonard. Mahialani Villa. Pamela Harris. Naoko Vote. Sabrina Ng. Lemuel de Guzman. Vincent George Cruz. Nishit Amin. Tanvi Trung. Trinice Lingwen. Young Suk An. Jie Huang. Chen Chiang Ku. Elizabeth Perez. Kwong Lu. Mimi Tring Nguyen. Xiaoyun Zhang. Nisa del Carmen. Okay. Stuart Purrier, the third. Alan Yusuf Francis. Anna Horning. Samira Carolina Olvia. Samira Carolina Oliva. Jacqueline Guarin. Phi Dui Ho. Tundup Onje. Daniela Carcare. Moreno, no? Oh. Lisbeth Magana Moreno. Hong Nguyen. Raymond Byron Smith. Lara Cabia. Jasprit Kaur Sohal. Jose Andres Mejia. Kanti Lee. Ma Teresa Belon. Channon Chai. Wai Kin Tam. Zan Lin Hoi. Man Kin Shu. Leonard Charles Lucero. Ying Chen. Yu Tuang. Min Fang Huang. Mei Yu Jiang. Wei Tao Hu. Fabrianto Corniadi. Wen Bin Yu. Van Ung Vong. Kimberly Jean Nakata. Hold on. Christina, wait.
For the School of Creative Arts, Dean Nancy Cantor.
You can leave the sign here. Do you want to carry it with you? Okay. Delicia Naomi. Margaret Heeman. Christine Lowe. Chelsea Lastrucci. Jorge Martin Sanchez. Amber Michelle Pulido. Amani Marie Hamid. Shela Motamedi. Rafael Porras Falconio. Stephen Earl. Ruben Escalante. Gabriel Johnson. Clyden Karami. Carolyn Linston. Robert Christopher Baker. Octavio Martinez. Miguel Alvarado. Leonel Tapia. Wednesday, Jessica Figueroa. Sandra Contreras. Joseph Eric Rodriguez. Vanessa Joy Castillo. Mark Deekers. Hang Pham. Dominique Espinoza Pib.
For the School of Intercultural International Studies. Oh my God. Is it working? Oh. Edmundo Norte.
I thought it wasn't working. No, it wasn't. It wasn't at first.
Victoria Jasmine Castañecla. Maria Victoria Chavez. Esteban Cariaga. She's got to be introduced.
For the School of Physical Education and Athletics, Colleen Lee Wheat.
Elizabeth Eleanor Evans. Cynthia Contreras. Nicole Marie Laird. Donald Wang.
For the School of Physical Sciences, Math, and Engineering, Dean Jerry Rosenberg.
Philip Alexander Juarez. Ted Bohr. Jesus Alvarez. Emelon Bit Atenus. Marvin Moriano. Alum Panu. Tao Kim Nguyen. Mai Lee. Adriana Rangel. Leonard Ania. Brandon Edison Ariano. Anthony Tai Nguyen. Angelica Hernandez. Karina Marie Wesley. Michael Anthony Manrique. Simon Van K. Tam. Sabrina Lane Marcus. Kevin Atashkade. Marcus Cerrato. Daniel Carpio. David Gutierrez. Angelina Ann Pham. Ibra Maradol. Jung Wan Yun. Zui Nguyen. Hao Sui Dong. Vanessa Victoriano. Roman Alvarez. Stacy Villanueva. Art Stephen Tabanas. Nicole Dang. Laela Mayoko Leonard.
In just a moment, I will officially confer the degrees, but first, Vice President Espinosa Pib will certify the degrees on behalf of the faculty.
By the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the Foothill De Anza Community College District, I hereby certify that the De Anza graduating class of 2013 has met the requirements for graduation as set forth by the California Community College Board of Governors.
Graduates, please rise wherever you are, hiding under the trees, underneath the stands, lurking wherever you are, please rise. Doesn't count if you're not standing. By the authority vested in me by the California Community College's Board of Governors and by the Board of Trustees of the Foothill De Anza Community College District, I hereby confer the degree of Associate in Arts or Associate in Science to the class of 2013. A special thanks to the 104 people still standing in the sun. With deep appreciations to the families who've come from far away and who stood for very long, I hereby declare the commencement exercises over, concluded, and done, and please ask you to wait for the platform party to exit the stage, those of you who haven't already fled.